Alrighty, how you doing, YouTube? This is Diego. You guys can call me either Diego or Padilla, doesn't matter to me. We're gonna do a review on a upper receiver and a lower receiver I bought by two companies. One's Palmetto State Armory, the second one is Bear Creek Arsenal. And I'll kind of give you guys my honest take on how I feel about the setup I did, budget setup. So yeah, so we'll get this in here. So first things first, we're gonna do a check, safety check. Clear. Nothing in the magazine. It is on safety. So yeah, guys, I'll give you a kind of a breakdown of my DMR setup, budget DMR setup, or plinking gun. I could use this for a lot of different applications. Specifically, I did this or when I moved back to Texas, I would like to go on a hog hunt, varmint hunting. I've always wanted a long range option. This is chambered in 223 or 5.56. The barrel is 223 wild. Yeah, I don't want to get off track, but yeah, the application that I built this this setup I have was just for going to the range, pushing the 5.56 or 223 cartridge, and seeing how far I can push it. I was pretty impressed by the overall performance of this gun. Let's talk about the Palmetto Start lower and then the Bear Creek Arsenal upper. I'll kind of break it down to two different segments or pieces. So we'll do the first one will be the upper receiver. The upper receiver is from Bear Creek Arsenal. It is a 1-to-8 twist barrel. It does have it's basically like a bird cage, but Bear Creek Arsenal did their own take on that. It's just a flash hider. I'm actually really impressed by it. I actually like the look of it. It does its job. 223 cartridge as a whole doesn't really have that much recoil, but the added bonus for BCA adding their own is actually pretty awesome. It is a billet upper. It is pretty heavy. I think it's around 6 pounds, 5 pounds. I would have to look up the exact weight. It is heavy, but I don't mind it. It's not like I'm going to be using this for a battle rifle. It's just kind of for hunting in the stand or long range shooting. Is sitting on a desk, not a desk, you guys know what I mean. But yeah, so far it is a Gen 2 side charging handle. It is actually pretty smooth. The scope that I have was, believe it or not, it's a SIG Buckmaster. I got it on sale at Palmetto State Armory, and I am more than impressed. It's a 3x9 scope. Maybe I'll do an individual review on this later, but for what I'm doing, this is excellent. And if you guys didn't know, this is actually Nikon used to make optics, and they switched over or sold whatever rights to SIG, and yeah, I'm impressed by this. Yeah, I just do have a standard bipod. It's a budget bipod on it. This is just a budget setup in general, just to get into the long range shooting. And I was able to push this out consistently to 550 yards. And man, I was wrecking a steel pig. I think it was 7x6 or 7x7 steel pig. Pretty small, 550 yards consistently. I think I was able to hit it like 4 times in a row once I figured out how the scope was dialed in. And the wind wasn't too bad that day, but I was using 55 grain Winchester bullets, 223, and I'm more than impressed using that ammo. It's obviously ammo's really expensive right now, and I was able to hit that steel pig from 550 yards pretty consistently. 200 yards it was easy, 300 yards was easy, 400 yards was easy. After 400 yards, you kind of actually really have to focus up and find out, because this scope's not, I don't think it has a windage on it or anything, but I was able to hit it consistently over six or 7 times. But yeah, the upper receiver from Bear Creek Arsenal, I got it on sale for, I think at the time it was $240 or $250 for the complete upper. And My overall review over this is I did a quality check with my buddy next door. He was able to take the gun apart, check for me to make sure nothing was out of specs or anything was like banged up. I know some people have a problem with this locking up, locking out, basically saying that it comes loose. And I've had zero problems actually over my upper receiver really loose. The handguard was loose. I've never had an issue with this upper receiver as far as that. Accuracy, more than impressed. I was hoping, since it is heavy and it is a heavy profile barrel and everything, that it was going to be accurate, because it would kind of suck, because a lot of the reviews, I was a little afraid to pull the trigger on this upper receiver. A lot of the reviews say sometimes they get a dud of a barrel, but I just think of it as, hey guys, any manufacturer company, I know, highly regarded, we can use a couple names, Radical Firearms, I know Aero Precision makes uppers too. Like, they could also have that same problem. But for mine, speaking for myself, I did not get any problems with the accuracy for the bullets that I was using. I was using 55 grain Winchester 223, and I had zero issues with accuracy. But full disclosure, I did pay for this with my own money. So Bear Creek Arsenal did not give me this for free, and we didn't do no exchanges. This is just my honest review, and it will always be my honest review, because I feel like guns are not something to play with. Everybody should know what they're getting, and obviously everything's opinionated. So maybe I got a good one, you may get a bad one, but I'm speaking from my experience. In my experience, I actually am pretty happy with this upper receiver. But there's always pros and cons with everything. If I had one or two gripes to have about this, it was the feeding. I had a feeding issue in the beginning. I was using ACS magazines, PMags, a wide variety of different magazines, and the very first 20 shots, I was just having feeding issues. The double feed, the bolt will not lock back when it was finished. Probably happened, like I said, to my 10 to 20 round mark. I was switching magazines back and forth. I wasn't using steel cased ammo, so I can't speak on steel cased ammo. I was just using brass. But the very first 20 rounds, I was having issues with it. But weirdly enough, I didn't do nothing to it. After my 20th round, which I'm sure was just a break-in period, this thing was running smooth, never had an issue. And now I'm on like 400, I think almost 500 rounds in this. I've just been shooting long distance consistently for 550 yards, trying to figure out how this gun works, putting it through the mud, not cleaning it, because, you know, that's one of the tests that I wanted to do. Obviously, I'll do an updated count once I reach 1,000 or 2,000. But as far as now, that was the only real malfunction I had, was the double feeding, and then it worked itself out after like the 20th round. The other gripe that I do have is, if you were using this for like an SPR or a DMR setup, it is kind of heavy, like, but in my opinion, it wouldn't be a gripe for me. Maybe if I'm just stating for other people, for if you're trying to use this for lugging around or hiking or doing this and that, and maybe it could be pretty, yeah, dense, I guess you could say, very, very, very heavy. But those are the only two gripes. That's for the upper, at least. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Let's see. Oh, I did. They do have a new M-Lock style at Bear Creek Arsenal. There's only Picatinny here and Picatinny on this side, which cuts obviously some weight off. They do have QD mounts right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. If you do want to add a sling to it. And I'm not changing anything on this gun. As far as the upper. All right, let's get to the lower so I don't get too distracted. So yeah, I do have a Palmetto State Armory lower, and I did opt for the MOE correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's an SPR. I love this thing. It's huge cheek well, huge. You have a lot of space for your cheek to sit comfortably. Obviously adjustable here, however you want. My eye relief is probably all the way out here, put on my shoulder, since I do use the method where you tuck under like this. Really good. It's not, some problems I have when I do that method, it kind of rubs up against that on my skin and it's kind of uncomfortable unless you have a bag. But let's go over the trigger right here. It is a 2-stage trigger. I did measure it. It was 1.75 on the get up and then a 1.75 on the actual pull, the click, or you guys can say the wall and the actual trigger pull itself. I'm really impressed by this trigger. And my buddy that shoots a lot of different guns is impressed by that too. He's like, I actually like it a lot. And he's like, what trigger is that? And I said, Palmetto State Armory. He's gonna believe it himself. So yeah, standard MOE mag pull grip right here. I could switch it out to ergo. I'm a big ergo guy. I'm not going to, just because I'm not really, I don't know, I don't think it's a huge upgrade. Obviously later down the line, if I wanted to, I would. Standard magazine drops, not extended, standard bolt lock back. Let's see. They do have a battery compartment in here. If you can take this out, put some batteries in it. If you were running an LPVO. Let's see. Another good thing about this. It's very easy to take apart. I'm pretty impressed by this setup actually, guys. The BCA upper 20-inch 223 wild, chambered in 223 wild, and then the Palmetto State Armory lower. I paid extra obviously for the trigger and for the stock, and this thing exceeded, let me say this again, exceeded my expectations due to the fact that when I want it, I think this whole setup plus the scope plus the mount, sorry, not the mount, the bipod, upper and lower. This is the mount, the scope mount. Maybe ran me 600, 700 at the most. I was able to get a good sale on Veterans Day and Memorial Day and all that. And again, it exceeded my expectations. I do want to thank Bear Creek Arsenal. I do want to thank Palmetto State Armory for them being a United States manufacturer for guns. I do believe in Palmetto State Armory saying, I do believe in Bear Creek Arsenal improving, constantly improving. I do believe in their product. I really do. And this is coming from a person that isn't a rich individual. I'm just an American guy that loves firearms, that wants to have fun, protect my family, and try out different platforms. And they do that. They have 300 Blackout, 5.56, 223, 450 Bushmaster. It goes on, like 243 Winchester, man, 6.5 Creedmoor. I love that, and I'm probably gonna eventually get that. I really want a 6.5 Creedmoor AR-10. 308. The possibilities are endless with these companies, and I do need you guys to give them a chance. I do believe that these products, they stand behind and they want to get better. You can ask anybody that started buying BCA uppers and lowers and PSA upper and lowers back then compared to now. You got to give them credit because they improved tremendously. Yeah, guys, so thank you for tuning in. I do want to appreciate everybody that actually stayed this whole time. I will be doing a review on my Palmetto State Armory AR-15 for home defense. I did add some extra goodies on that. I'll go over it once I put this video out, start working on it. I thank you guys. I hope you guys have a good one.